back to the Survivor Girl podcast and Happy New Year, everybody. So glad that you're joining us. I got a couple things to start out with, as usual. I know that I am sitting in the captain chair, hanging out here by myself today. Got a lot of things to cover. And first thing, though, as always, we are not doctors, therapists, counselors, or trained medical professions. We are not here to treat, diagnose, or prescribe any means of treatment. And I'm here to share what I've been through and overcome in hopes of inspiring, uplifting, and empowering others. So please don't just take my word for it. Go out, do research on the topics that we speak of, all the different things that we have. We have different guests that are going to continue to join us. Tonight, I'm just talking about my personal story and things that I've overcome with weight loss. And before I get started, though, I know that you guys that are following Survivor Girl have noticed that recently, or if you haven't been following, that my co host Becky had to step down for personal and health reasons. So I am going to be going forward with Survivor Girl and bringing on different guests and different co-hosts, kind of like guest co-host. So I'm so happy and thankful that we were able to start Survivor Girl together. And I just hope that you guys will join me in praying and wishing her the best on her journey to healing and all the things that she's got going on in her life. And we've had quite a beginning since April, and I'm very thankful that we were able to start the pod that she was able to join me to start the podcast and Survivor Girl. We've done a lot of really great things since then, and I'm looking forward to where we're heading next. We're going to be doing some different segments, or I'm going to be doing some different segments with Survivor Girl. One of the things that I'm going to be doing is something called Survivor Girl Spotlight, and I'm in works with talking with different businesses now to kind of uplift and promote what they've got going on. And some of the things that we're going to be doing is looking at these businesses for what kind of health benefits and different things that they're doing, or just to promote a business that's local or wherever they are. I'd like to really get out there and start doing a lot of different public speaking and different things, with Survivor Girl to just continue to get out as far as I can and help as many people as I possibly can with Survivor Girl. So I wanted to talk again about some events that are going on. February 14th, there's Mitch Gill's Get a Room Comedy Club at Brentwood. It's going to be on Valentine's Day, so something for the laugh therapy that we always talk about on Survivor Girl. Tickets are only $15. This is in Caro. Uh, the doors open at 6 o'clock. The show starts at 8. Tickets go fast, especially with an event like this, with a holiday. So you're going to want to get your tickets as soon as you can. You can contact Mitch Gill on Facebook to get your tickets. Also, keep paying attention to Strange Friends Media because we will have tickets available for you guys to win. So, Strange Friends Media, don't make this weird podcast. Keep on paying attention to that. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, especially to Strange Friends Media, because you'll be able to see all of the new podcasts that are coming on board along with what we have going on. So, go ahead and subscribe, like the Facebook page so that you're able to get those notifications as well and to keep up with everything that we've got going on. Survivor Girl stuff will also be posted on there. So if you are on Survivor Girl Facebook already, go ahead and like the Strange Friends Media SFM page so you can see what else we have going on around here. So lately, there has been a lot with the new year that has come up with prayers. A lot of prayer requests have been coming in um, before the new year actually happened. In Christmas time, a lot of stuff had went down with families that were going through some tough times, lost some loved ones, health issues, all kinds of stuff that's been happening. And on Survivor Girl Facebook page, we have where you can message and ask for unspoken prayers, or if you want any prayers that are not, that you want put out there, we are able to do that and help uplift with prayer no matter what it is that you're going through. And right now, there's a lot of people that are asking for those. So I just ask that you guys join in with Survivor Girl and the crew with me to put those prayers up and help with whatever we can in that way. So if it's a prayer, if it's just good vibes, whatever it is that you do, I ask that you please join us and help uplift those people as well. So, also, with the new year, I hope everybody has started out great, with that aside, I hope that you guys have decided not to go with resolutions because they don't always seem to stick. So for me, I just like to go with goals. I have stuff that I like to improve on myself, improve moving forward. It could be the smallest thing. So for my year starting out, I've decided to do a list of different things that that I try to make that I try to get through each day. It doesn't have to be huge goals. It's just little things to let me know that I'm actually moving forward, that I am, getting stuff done. Progress is a huge thing. So if you have been stuck with doing the resolutions every new year, have resolutions, just make your goals and move forward with whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish for 2020. You don't have to kill yourself at the gym or whatever starting out, because I've seen that a lot. A lot of people's big goals are trying to lose weight for the new year and whatnot. However, I mean, it doesn't have to be a resolution. You guys can just put it as a goal or something that you want to do. Try to make each day something to where you are just being better than what you were the day before. Just keep on moving forward, everybody. So, one of the other things I wanted to talk about is Serenity House. There is a community that, or a friend of ours that is trying to put together a community that is called Serenity House, and they're looking for donations at this time. And what it is that Serenity House is a cooperative community, a resource center on emphasis of the homeless, low income families, young adults, and those suffering from life altering events. We will provide services to prepare, repair, and restore those in need. Now, this is going to be located in Battle Creek. Yes, we are in the thumb, but it doesn't matter where you are in the world. Survivor Girl is trying to reach out to as many people as possible, no matter where it is that you are. So if you have something that you're trying to do, you're a charity, you are a nonprofit, you are trying to get something like this up and running, please inbox me. Let's see what we can do to try to help each other out. If you go ahead into the Facebook page, it is Serenity House. It's got a really pretty logo. It kind of looks like a Celtic kind of design with some different watercoloring. We'll go ahead and put the link in our Facebook page on Survivor Girl, so you guys can go ahead and check out and see what's going on there. We'll try to put as many different links as we possibly can up on Survivor Girl, so that you guys have access to all the stuff that is going on, especially these kind of charities and different things. Like I said, you can look up the prayer request events that we're doing, different things, charities that we are trying to help, move forward. And whatever it is that you guys are doing, just give us a message and we'll try to help you out the best that we can. There's another one too that we've been kind of working with called Corky's Dream. It is for domestic violence women, people that are surviving, trying to get out of the situation. They've been trying to build a animal shelter and women's shelter, and we're trying to do what we can to help with them getting donations as well. If you want to message and you're interested in how to either get help from Corky's Dream or how to donate to help that dream become a reality, please message Survivor Girl and we will help get you in touch and where you need to go. I might not always know where it is that where you're trying to go or what you need, but I will try my best to try to find the resources for you. So thank you guys for, again, tuning in, joining us, and helping out. Make Survivor Girl a reality. We'd like to help out as many people as we possibly can. I'm looking into doing something called Thrive to Survive Fest. I have a crew of people that are helping out behind the scenes, trying to get this made into a reality. And it's something where I would like to bring not just music and food and public speaking or any of that just together. There's going to be vendors, and I want to get different public speakers with for domestic violence, different charities, different outreaches like Suicide Hotline, Wounded Warrior Project, all of these different things I think that are needed, and trying to put everybody into one place into this festival so that if you are coming to the festival, you're able to speak with somebody one on one instead of just trying to reach out over the phone or trying to email or trying to find the resources online. you're able to actually be able to talk to somebody face to face. If you know anybody, or how we can get in touch with these different ones, or you have a organization that you would really like to see at Thrive to Survive Fest, please message us. Let us know so we can get the contact information so we can make sure that they are there and that we're able to put the people in the right direction. So, this episode, with that being said, this episode is about my weight loss journey. Um, it has not been, uh, it's not been an easy thing. I started to gain weight when I was 5 years old, and throughout my life, just continued to gain more weight. And as a teenager, found out that one of the big culprits was polycystic ovarian syndrome. We had a show that we talked about polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS, a while back, and that is still in the archives. You can go back onto the YouTube channel and take a look at that. Um, it, it's been a rough ride. I've got in my family, there's not a lot of smaller women, I'd say. They've battled with their weight loss throughout their lives as well. And I ended up following in those lines. I ended up gaining weight, like I said, at a very young age. And then, of course, when you're a kid, you deal with bullying and different things like that. So I am no stranger to different names that you could be called of being heavy, or any of that kind of stuff. I went through a lot of different things in school, felt a lot of different things about myself growing up, and not knowing how to deal with those. I went to therapy at a young age to try to resolve that stuff. And I have, like I've said before on past shows, I have been in therapy for quite a long time throughout my life. And that's something that I really wanted to emphasize on, that it's okay if you do see a therapist. It doesn't matter. You shouldn't be ashamed about it, is what I'm trying to say. And we've talked about on past shows that if you aren't comfortable with the therapist that you have, you can keep on trying to find the one that's going to fit and work for you. There's all kinds of different resources, to find a therapist. Like I said, Google has so many different resources to help you find in your area, a therapist. There's different weight loss groups, different things on Facebook. So for me, I've struggled so much throughout my life with weight loss, that my health was getting worse. I continued to gain weight. A lot of that went with the polycystic ovarian syndrome. When I was in high school, when I first started, I would say more or less like middle school. Um, it was horrifying because in middle school, you get everybody together in the gym, and like that big day where they are doing the testing and different stuff in the gym, they also do the weigh-in. And there's a lot of people, or a lot of kids here in the gym, and I've got people behind me, and I'm so embarrassed. I'm the kid that would hide in the locker room, but not out in front of everybody when everybody had to get changed in front of each other. It was embarrassing. So I would go into a stall and try to fit into there and change. And, but here we are, vulnerable in front of everybody, the whole entire class, boys and girls. They do the weigh in, and people are peeking around me, peeking around to see what my weight was. And in middle school, I was at 208 pounds. And as short as I am, that was miserable. And at that time, I went home and I cried. I cried about the situation, and I promised myself that I was never going to gain more than that. That was it. I was done. I was not going to gain any more weight. Well, that didn't happen. Or it did happen. I gained more. I didn't stop there. So the next year is when I found out that I had polycystic ovarian syndrome. And at that time, doctors didn't really know a whole lot about what that meant or what kind of damage that it could do to your body. So through my high school career, my freshman year, I did lose some weight. I went from 208 down to 175. And I have no idea, but within the next 3 years, I ended up becoming 300 pounds by my senior year at 5'1", and not understanding, or I wouldn't say not understanding, but I guess not realizing where I was. It's like I know that whole saying of it doesn't come on, it doesn't creep on overnight. I know that's true, but for some reason in my head, I was able to shut that whole image off and not pay attention. I knew I wasn't healthy. I knew I was miserable, but I didn't realize how bad it had gotten. And I didn't understand that a lot of it had to do with polycystic ovarian syndrome. So I will put more links up about that. Pretty much, from what I got the understanding from my doctor, is it's like having diabetes, but worse because it. I want to say worse. I don't want to say that. But with that, you get the cravings, you get weight gain, you get unwanted hair, you have higher testosterone, acne. There's certain foods that will cause you to gain weight more, rapidly. There's just so much stuff that happens with it. You're supposed to avoid these foods, I should say. And I didn't really understand that. And then it just seemed like as I got older, the battle continued. The weight, the battle continued. I after graduating, mind you, at this whole being overweight at 300 pounds, I could still do exercise. I could still walk. I could still do a lot of things that you wouldn't expect somebody at that weight to do. But I kept on doing it. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, if I can still do this, then I'm not that bad off health wise. I'm not suffering that bad. If I can still do exercise and still do this, and it, like I said, though, it still gets worse. Like, even if you think that your health is good, in the long run, there's a lot of things that start happening. After that, like I said, after school, I ended up finding somebody. I got married. I started working on myself again. I lost weight. I went down from 300 down to 265 pounds. Hallelujah. I was excited. I was feeling good about myself. And then it just kind of went back, I think, into depression. I started gaining weight back. I went through a divorce. I gained more weight back. And, just through the years, it started coming back on. There was, I mean, it was unbelievable how I could go from, hey, I can lose weight. Here I am to, wow, I'm back up again. And it just seemed to like continue no matter, I'd watch, I'd food journal, I'd do everything I possibly could, and I would do fine. And then just one wrong turn, one bout of depression, and then it just start gaining. But it wasn't like it was a small gain. It was like a lot of weight. I'd gain 10, 15, 20 pounds in a month. Like, how does this stuff happen? And it was very discouraging. I was getting very scared about my health. However, through that time, I was dating and I was like, oh, well, people, these guys are still interested in me no matter what weight I'm at. So I can't be that, it can't be that bad. These mind tricks that you play with yourself when you're overweight. These things that you say to yourself to make yourself believe that you're okay. But it really shouldn't be about the whole image thing. And that's one thing, that has been kind of a struggle back and forth is I grew up with my mom telling me, if they don't like it, don't look. That was the whole thing is if they don't like it, don't look. And so I got used to that, just like, okay, if they don't like me, then they don't have to look at me. But it's hurtful. People say things. I mean, there was one time I was meeting a friend at McDonald's and I was coming through the door just happy, excited to go see my friend. I open the door up and I hold it out and I smile at these people and I'm just like, oh, hey, doing a good deed. And they walk out and I walk in and my friend says, yeah, those people that you were just so nice to and held the door for said, look at that girl. She doesn't need to be coming in here to McDonald's. She's so overweight. What could she possibly need here? After I just held the door and was smiling at them and being nice. So there's that stigma about people that are overweight as well. I don't blame polycystic ovarian syndrome completely on all of my weight gain. I wasn't always so cautious with what I ate as well. So there's a lot that went into it. Genes, PCOS, all of this. Do I have stuff going on in the chat? All right. Do you have a microphone up for that or you weren't ready, were you? No problem. Hold on a second. Let me go on here. It might come on though loud. Yeah, okay. Let me see here. All right, so I do have a couple things here in chat. Candy says, "Hello, sister. Love the purple frame." Hey, thank you. Glad you're joining us. I don't see all. We're starting out. We were a little bit late. So yesterday, I'll go back to the weight loss story here in a minute. Yesterday, because of the power outage, we had the ice storm of 2020, and we lost power, we lost internet, and we didn't get it back on until many hours after Survivor Girl Sunday, 6 p.m. when it was supposed to happen. Um, so we just kind of were like, okay, there's nothing that we can really do at this point. Tomorrow we will join again. So we were a little bit late today because we are now on Twitch and we have a lot of other things, not just Twitch. We are on, well, obviously YouTube. That's what we're doing right now. Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok. There's a lot of different places that you can find Survivor Girl, but right now, Twitch is something new. So I'm excited to be able to be on there as well. There's all kinds of people that can join in on there and on YouTube. You can catch us on solidstateradio.net. We're re-aired there. We thank them for re-airing Survivor Girl and believing in Survivor Girl. So thank you guys for tuning in again. I just want to tell you that I am very appreciated that you are here with us and hanging out, here with me hanging out. I'm so used to saying us, so I have to get used to that, guys. So anyway, going back to my whole weight loss stuff. Like I said, polycystic ovarian syndrome, I can't blame it completely all on that. Poor eating choices, cravings. You do get a lot of cravings with polycystic ovarian syndrome that are strange. A lot of salty, a lot of, a lot of different things. Plus your periods are messed up. My experience, my periods were messed up. So I dealt with that a lot too. And like I said, the hormones, the basically being borderline diabetic, several different things that just play against you when it comes to polycystic ovarian syndrome and gaining weight. So, not only having depression and anxiety on top of everything, it just kind of was like I'm on the road for a lot of different health issues down the road. So, when I was married, I forgot to mention this. When I was married, I started to look into the weight loss surgery. And at that time, he was concerned that I would end up dying on the table. So I kind of took that into consideration because when you're married, it's not just your life that you are, but you know, at that point, my health had started already declining, and you kind of are set there going, okay, so what is worse, taking the risk of getting the weight loss surgery or continuing to be unhealthy, gaining weight on, rapidly and losing your life to a heart attack or something like that. So, I did say that I wouldn't do it at that time, but then years later down the road after being divorced and, going through cancer as well, which is another thing I'm not sure that is linked to. However, I did go through uterine cancer, and anybody that's seen Survivor Girl, the beginning stories, I talk about that. So you can go back to episode 1 and hear about that journey. But I got a second chance at life. So I decided that, okay, I'm going to start trying to behave, start watching myself, start looking more into what having polycystic ovarian syndrome means, what kind of things that I can do to eat better, exercise, and I joined the gym. I started doing all kinds of different things. I did a 5K, the color run, which is fantastic. I absolutely recommend it to anybody. There was people there that were running up beside me, telling me how proud they were to see that I was doing this 5K, that I could do this, and here I am, 5'1", at my heaviest, which at that time was 332 pounds, which actually was not my heaviest before surgery. But I had these people that I didn't know running up, supporting me, telling me that I could do this 5K, and it was really incredible. And another thing, that just I kept trying no matter how much weight I had gained, I would not give up on trying these different things. I'm stubborn. I know my people in the studio right now are shaking their heads. My studio audience knows that I am stubborn. And but that's part of me, as my friend would say, as a little fighter. And that's what helped get through, the cancer and everything else that I've come across so far in the 39 years that I've been here. And I know I say that with a cringe, but I should be very excited about that and celebrating because birthdays are a celebration, especially after you've gone through something traumatic where you're able to continue moving forward. And Tony says, love the new look. Keep being epic. Thank you, Tony. Thank you for joining in. So happy that you're here. So I still continue to try to lose weight. I had a trainer. I thought my trainer was single handedly trying to kill me. So I switched to a new trainer. He was worse. It was miserable. I cried a lot. I felt like an idiot. Um, but at that time too, when I had gotten the trainer, I was also dealing with the grief of the loss of my mom, the grief of the loss of what life I thought that I was going meant to have, who I thought I was supposed to be. But I gotta be honest with you guys, I've heard this a lot. Um, I have a friend who has gone through a lot of stuff too, and she's currently going through trying to rehabilitate herself. She had an accident. She was on one of our episodes, Crystal LaFay, Crystal No, and she talks about how you need to be able to let go of the person that you thought that you were meant to be. Okay. And that kind of struck something with me because I was like, man, I need to let go of who the person that I thought I was meant to be. Then I went back and I started going, okay, who did I think I was supposed to be? What was I doing in my old life before all of that stuff happened that I wouldn't want to give up? And I know that probably sounds weird to some people, but I look back at my life before cancer, before losing my mom, before losing Zach, before any of the stuff where I'm at now. And I think about it, and I'm like, I actually was pretty miserable. I was pretty depressed. I worked third shift. I stayed in my room, my little room that I rented, an apartment with a friend, which absolutely great person. I lived with that person for 7 years, and I thank him for, that time and helping me get through all of the tough stuff too. But I stayed in my room. I was an admin on a karaoke page, which I'm not dissing that because it helped me get through what I was going through at that time in my life. Um, I learned a lot about myself through all of that as well. But I worked third shift. I came home. I admined. I ate. I slept, and I didn't really go out and see my friends that much. I didn't really get out much. And I don't know if it was because I was struggling trying to heal from the divorce or, what at that time. I mean, we hold on to a lot of these things, these traumas, these really hard things and not work through them. Like for me, I was very good at pushing it down. And I think that's exactly what happened with more of the weight, gaining the weight, as I continued just to push it down and pretend like it wasn't happening. And that's a really hard realization when you sit there and you take a look at everything and go, okay, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I am pushing down everything and I'm pushing down all my feelings with food and I'm pushing down that I'm angry that I've got this polycystic ovarian syndrome and, you know, eating out of um, boredom, eating out of trying to cover up your feelings is a real thing. And I know that I'm not the only one that goes through that. And I know that I'm not the only one that suffered through that. And now that things are different, I have my mind open to seeing what my bad habits were, what I used to try to cover up with eating, all those different things, And I look, like I said, though, I look back at my life at that time and I was just existing. I was going into bad relationship after bad relationship because I was like, this is what I deserve. This is what I'm worth. If I'm this overweight and I get attention from this guy, even though he's a terrible person, I can feel good about myself. And that's not right. Like, why? Why did I do that? And I don't have those answers because I don't talk to the old Heather anymore. I don't because it's toxic. I was very toxic and I have moments where I'm like I kind of miss her, but I look at myself now and I go, "Wait a minute. Why? Why?" So sometimes you have to break up with yourself, your old self. A while back on one of the episodes, I said that I challenged everybody to write a love note to themselves. And guess what, guys? I did it the other night, finally. It was rough. It was very rough. A lot of forgiveness to the things I went through and realization that it wasn't my fault. That was tough. Realizing and admitting that it wasn't my fault. But that's part of healing. We hold on to so many things, and that causes a lot. And I know that you guys have seen, if you've seen the first episode where I talk about going through cancer and losing my mom, who is my absolute best friend. And there's a survivor guilt too that I held on to for a long time because we were diagnosed a week apart, like, and I got to live. But I know why now. And I see that and I know the things that I'm doing, and that's why I'm still here. And I live for her. She's right here in my heart. I look like her. I There's not a day that goes by that I don't look in the mirror and I go, "Whoa, I am totally turning into my mom each and every day." But I'm okay with that. I'm very okay with that. But through looking back and reflecting, which is a great thing to do, you guys. I recommend for what I did for myself was I grabbed a notebook and I sat down and I kind of put on some meditation music. Nothing that would put me to sleep because I needed to be lucid to be able to write down what I needed to. But I thought about all of the different things, and I looked back at my childhood. I looked back at the little girl that started out having issues, and I forgave her. I forgave myself. I thought about all the different things that I held on to that were just murky, toxic. I mean, I sometimes we don't realize that we do those things, and when you actually sit there and dissect it and write it down and give yourself um, that time to look it over and forgive yourself, it is so healing, and it is such a different feeling. You might have a little bit of or a couple days where you still kind of you struggle with the feelings of it. That can happen with anything that you're trying to do to move forward and to better and heal yourself. That can happen. There's times when we've had this show, and there's been a couple days where I was sideways after talking about the subjects, or when we've had different guests come on and they've talked about subjects that I could relate to. Whew, it hit me. It hit me hard, but that's the reason why Survivor Girl is here, because we want you guys to know that you're not alone. And if you can relate to whatever it is or whoever it is that we have on the show, myself or a guest, whatever we're talking about, then we're doing the right thing. I'm on the right track. And so looking through all of that and forgiving myself and moving forward, I moving forward, you think about, I don't really want to be who I thought I was meant to be. I wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't I wasn't doing anything but existing, like I said before. Yeah, I was born and raised with a good heart, but I wasn't getting out and doing stuff to help others. I wasn't doing anything to help myself. When you just push stuff away and you push things down and you pretend like things aren't happening, it blows up so much harder in your face later on instead of just facing it. And I'm not perfect, obviously, you guys, but I hate to see anybody go through all of that for so many years and to be at 39 and going, "Whoa, I'm just now getting this? What? What?" But not everybody gets it right away. And it's great because being able to do Survivor Girl, I've noticed that some of the younger people, and it's funny saying that now as I reach 40, the younger generation that are seeing Survivor Girl and they're going, "Wow, I get this. Like what you said, it helped me out. It helped me, to realize that I'm not alone and that I can do this and I can try this now. That's awesome. And thank you guys for that. Like that's the whole reason of Survivor Girl is to be out there to help other people. It's never been about myself. It's never been about um what, showing off and being like, "Oh, this is what we did. This is what we can do. It's never been about that. It's about you guys. It's about um trying to make the world a better place. It's about, like I said, letting people know that they're not alone and helping direct them to the right resources, or help a friend get directed to the right resources, or just getting these stories out there so that you guys can feel feel it. Or if it's something that you've been pushing down and you listen to this episode or any episode and you resonate with it and you feel it, maybe then you'll be able to move forward. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not here as a therapist or anything. To who I was, and so now here I am. September 6th. Well, it started actually March of 2018. Um, I made the decision that I was going to go in for weight loss surgery. I kept on going to my doctor. At that point, not only did I have polycystic ovarian syndrome, I had high cholesterol, I had high blood pressure, I was now diabetic, I was dealing with fatigue, everything else that comes with being overweight. I was at 350 pounds. I'm only 5'1", and I was to the point where I didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't want to continue gaining weight. I didn't want to continue feeling horrible. And I finally made the decision that I wanted to take action. And for me, it was going to get bariatric surgery. So I got the ball rolling. And at that point, being at 350 pounds, when I met with the surgeon, well, first I went to the seminar on it. They had this huge seminar over in Saginaw. They got the different doctors there that you're able to see. My friend Christy, my sister, went with me to the seminar to see the different options, to hear the different doctors, to hear the stories, to actually meet with some of the patients. And at that time, it was kind of a eye opener because the lady that did the speaking that day, she was 350 pounds herself. So here I am looking at the version of her that was no longer 350 pounds, that was confident, that was, I can't even remember what weight she was actually at, but she was there speaking, and I'm going, man, she was 350 pounds? No way. Like, no way. So in my mind, I was like, this is just incredible because I'm seeing a glimpse into the future for myself, to continue forward on, what I'm doing. Excuse me a minute. Need a little bit of water after you talk and talk and talk so much. Anyway, so seeing her, it was just, it was cool to see that she used to be where I was at. So my starting point to where I could be. We got all the information. There was a certain fee that had to be paid. Regardless, my insurance actually was covering everything, thankfully. And they were requiring a $200 fee to be able to see the nutritionist throughout the whole thing. So even now, after I pay that $200, I can still go back and see the nutritionist anytime that I need to. And at that time, I was still, I think it was after my season at Bronner, so I worked seasonally, and I was kind of not to that point where I had the money. I had a friend who actually helped me with the fee to get the ball rolling on the surgery and with the nutritionist. So I met with the surgeon. I talked with other people that had gone to the surgeon. There was a friend of mine that had such success with the surgery. She was smaller than what I was at starting point, but her and I talked back and forth. She gave me different pointers, different things. She had the same surgeon, recommended him highly, and his name is Dr. Chad Ringley. He's from Saginaw, and she was my kind of like my saving grace at the time. You get nervous. This is a huge change, and anytime that I ever ventured into weight loss before, I always kind of had this thing where I would talk myself kind of out of it, or, now here we are at the surgery. This is big and scary. This is, you look up their statistics online about different things that could go wrong. You hear the horror stories, but then you hear all of the successes, because now here we are, 2018. The surgery has changed so much from when it first started, that now getting a gallbladder surgery is more invasive, and more, you have a higher chance of actually uh, losing your life on the table as you do with the bariatric surgery, which I found I was surprised by. Because in May of 2014, I actually had gallbladder surgery. And I was like, wow, I've been there, I've done that. So what do I have to lose? I have a chance at a new life. I have another second chance, which, I went forward. It was scary. So you go, and at this time I'm going through all of the different stuff. You have to get a psych evaluation. So I went through that. Everything came back. I'm good. I passed. I joked about it, that I was certified that I am not crazy, and that I was, sane enough. So that was like the ongoing joke for a while there. I had to go through that. The nutritionist I had to see once a month, every month. She had something different that she had to talk to me each time. I had to meet with the doctor once a month. I had to do a liquid diet, 30 days, and that was rough. Protein shakes. Premier protein shakes were my friend. They still kind of are, actually. I'll be honest with you. Even though I'm over a year out, it's different for everybody. So please don't think that you have to be on shakes and liquid for the rest of your life, because that's not true. Um, there was 2 weeks after, like, I had to get down to a certain point. So that was fun. I found a lot of strength in myself, because I was like, I'm doing this. I have to get to a certain weight, and I'm doing this. So I thought that I only had to lose 20 to 30 pounds. So I'm like, yeah, I can do this. I got this. So when the review came back around and I thought that I was only at 30 pounds, I'm like, okay, I can do this. I lost that 30 pounds. I did it. Every week I was losing. And that's what they want to see. They want to see that you're able to continually lose weight every week, or whenever you meet with them. So I meet with them, and I'm like, okay, I'm going in, I'm getting my surgery date. This day is awesome. I'm so excited. Adam's with me. I'm like, today's the day. Today's the day. I have been so good. I've not cheated. I quit pop, because you have to quit pop. I wasn't a smoker, but you are supposed to quit smoking before you go in for the surgery. It can cause a lot of issues. I quit using straws, so I would get used to that, because the straws will fill up the little pouch that you get, which actually I wanted to pull that up so you guys can see what the difference is for bariatric surgery. So you can see exactly what, because there's the sleeve surgery, and what I had is the Roux-en-Y. So this is the bypass surgery. He's going to go ahead and pull that up. Hopefully we'll get that image maybe here in a minute. I'll keep talking though. So the bypass, the Roux-en-Y, actually is where they reroute your intestine so that it goes into a smaller pouch, which is kind of, I guess, the size of a hard-boiled egg. Yeah, if you look up the image, it should bring one up. It's kind of gross looking, so disclaimer. So this is what is actually going on inside. Oh yeah, I got all kinds of different weight loss pictures up there. Oh, they're not me. Okay, I see now. So you can see how they reroute it, and you have just a tiny pouch. So when I eat, my food goes down into that little hard-boiled egg shape. Okay, and that's just, it doesn't blow up. Okay, but that's okay. Don't worry about it. So anyhow, there's just, if you picture, okay, so you can kind of see them there. That little teeny tiny pouch there is where my food will go. So all of that stomach that I used to have is completely rerouted. I don't have that part anymore. So what happens is when I eat, I can eat probably now up to 4 to 5 bites of food. And you have to chew very slowly, because it can really mess you up. And I've learned this experience. I'm not perfect. I've been 3 o'clock in the morning. having Adam actually hitting on my back because there's food stuck in there because I was not careful enough. And that's a real thing. Like, you really have to be careful. You are supposed to chew and chew and chew. The weird thing about that, though, is like sometimes I do feel the fullness. I always feel that, which is incredible because before the weight loss surgery, I didn't really have that shut off. That was a really, really weird thing. There was times, but I could eat a lot of food before, and I don't know. I think it's because obviously I wasn't eating the proper stuff, got not getting enough protein, all that stuff. But now, with only eating certain, I choose right. I can only drink 30 minutes before a meal and 30 minutes after a meal because when you look at that little spot, that's all in the room that you have. If you're filling it up with liquid, you're not getting enough room for your food. So that was interesting to learn too, which I've been good with that ever since the beginning. I've learned. So but when we go out to eat, which I still do, I don't really like do buffets or anything because it's a waste of money. I do have a card that says I've had the surgery, so like if I go to a restaurant, I can show that if they have a program, I can get something cheaper because I don't eat but 5 bites. And I'll be honest, I do unfortunately waste a bit of food if I do it that way, especially if it's something that my fiance Adam doesn't eat. If he eats it, we're golden because he'll finish my food for me all day long, which is great. And he can afford to because he's a smaller guy. So imagine going with somebody who is a lot smaller than you at 350 pounds, that difference. Like that was a big difference. Like I'll get into that in a minute though. So learning the difference with not only just chewing properly, not drinking. When you go to the restaurant, they ask you if you want something to drink, and just so I don't mess up and drink before I eat, I will tell them I don't want to drink at all. Or I'll just order water and slide it over to Adam so I don't look so weird because there's still that. So you relearn how to eat. You learn everything that you ever had, your relationship with food. It's completely something new. But now I am over a year out. I when I started, like I said, I was 350 pounds. So when I went in for surgery, I was 200 and wait, no, hold on. No. What was I at? I lost 53 pounds, so I was at 353, 290, whatever. I'm not good at math, guys. Anyway, so I do have my papers though. It's okay. It's probably what, 3 different pounds, but so, oh, this was the statistics part. So I ended up with my weight loss. My original goal was to be down to 145 pounds. So far to date, I've lost 157. If you go back to the day after my surgery, I was I was at 290. Yeah, I was at 297 when I went in for surgery. And then the next day they do a weigh-in. I had a little bit of complications. I'm not gonna lie about that. I had bruising, so I was losing blood. They were actually measuring on my stomach with a Sharpie how far my bruising was going to monitor me and make sure that I was good. Um, and I had blood transfusions. So there is still things that can happen. I was in there 2 extra days. Everything was checked over. They were very good. Covenant was amazing. Adam was with me through the whole thing. Tony stopped in every day. I had some other visitors. Zach's parents were there, which was incredible. And anybody that doesn't know, Zach's parents have been in my life. We lost Zach almost 3 years ago, or 3 years ago, and they've been a huge staple in my life too, and supportive through this whole thing. Um, but anyway, so the doctor was very good at monitoring. I had a lot of popsicles. They watched for the liquid to make sure I wasn't having any bleed outs, whatever. And just it was a little scary. I've never had blood transfusions before, so I was a bit nervous about that. They monitored that, and then it was time for me to do the work again. Keep going. When you have surgery, they recommend, and I know this from having the complete hysterectomy when I had cancer, that you have to get up. You have got to move. If you aren't moving, you are going to be bumming later on. So I had to start working on that. They came in, they were like, "We're going to have to get you up." I'm groggy, and I decided that I am just going to lift my leg and sit right up, and decided right away that that was a horrible idea. Um, Tony and Adam were right there to be like, "Okay, guys, you should take a little break, little buddy." But when I was able to, I started walking. I had issues with my heart monitor. I had nurses come running looking for me when I was out on a walk because my heart monitor was telling them that I coded. So there was that. That was creepy. Adam was still back in the room. I was like, I'm determined. I'm going for a walk by myself. They come running in, pounding on the door, and he's like, I'm in the bathroom. Was she in there with you? No, she's out for a walk. Okay. And then they come running towards me. Everything was good. I wasn't coding. Um, Great thing though. Through all of that, uh, I was able to leave the hospital. Oh, wait, what I said though with the fluids, I ended up going up to 317 pounds because of all the fluids that I had and the blood and all that stuff. However, I ended up going back down. It was a moment though where I was like, really? I just had this surgery and I gained? That doesn't seem right. Um, but that happens. But it started moving after that. I started losing. It was incredible. Oh yeah, code green. Yeah, there was a code green while I was in there, which means fighting with a patient, fighting aggressive patient. It wasn't me. They thought it was because before surgery, that's another story. Before surgery, you have to go in and get a scope done. Okay, so I go in to get my scope done. Apparently, I was nervous of the anesthesiologist, whatever, and all I remember is that this little nurse is pushing me back into my room, my little bay, my little room afterward for recovery. And she says, I can tell you one thing, you sure are strong. And I go, what did I do? Becky was there with me at the time. She said the look on my face, I looked scared, like I had just like hurt somebody. So me being me and trying to make a situation better, I start thinking, doctor comes walking in and I say, "Okay, doc. First thing, first things first. First thing about Fight Club, we don't talk about Fight Club." And he starts laughing. He says, "Yeah, you got a little rambunctious, but we were able to finish the testing, so you're okay." So, which I think he was glad too, because I don't think he wanted to deal with that again. So I teased him before, obviously going in for surgery too. So anyway, the code green goes over when Tony is visiting, and he automatically thinks that I'm getting rambunctious, if you will, and it was not me. And apparently, I told them that I was white milk wasted. I can't be responsible for the drugs they had me on to help me deal with the pain at the time. I can, however, tell you as soon as I was healed and feeling better, I moved forward and was not taking any more of that medication. There's a lot of experiences, and you always got to look at the bright side of this because that was a rough thing. It was scary. Before I went in for surgery, I was on the table going, okay, if you're gonna stop and you're not gonna go get this surgery now's your chance to get off the table. Well, I woke up and I was okay, obviously. But I did try to talk myself out of it the night before. I did join a group on Facebook, two different ones for bariatric surgery and patients, to try to get an understanding for what people experience, what I was going to experience, talk to other people. See, which is incredible about that community is they show you pictures of where they were and where they're at now. It was so cool to see that. If you say there is a lot of things on there, though, I will be honest, it is Facebook, okay, guys? Anytime you post something, you're always going to have somebody coming on with something negative. There's people that go on and post stuff that they talk about what they eat. There is things that people can eat now that maybe might not be a good idea, but you know what? It's not for me to decide. It's not for anybody else to decide. It's what they're doing. Some people may think of the things that I eat wouldn't be proper for a bariatric patient, but it just depends on who you are and what you're doing. I've had people say, I know somebody who had the surgery and they gained all their weight back. Well, good for them. I'm here to tell you, thank you for the warning, but I need to be careful and I watch what I do because I don't ever want to go back there. For me, bariatric surgery was the best option. I left the hospital, like I said. I was no longer diabetic. Leaving the hospital 5 days. No longer diabetic. I did not have to take any of those medications. Any of these medications. Uh, no longer had the high blood pressure, and I no longer had the high cholesterol. I had a lot of issues with my heart, my blood pressure being so high that I had to monitor it constantly. And it was cool because when I got home, I was tired. There was a lot of hormone issues that happened with me because I had a full hysterectomy. I was hoarding the estrogen in my weight, for lack of better terms, so in my fat, and then I started to lose fat. That kind of started to get me a little sideways. So there are different things that can happen when you're losing weight, just so you guys know. And I'm not recommending this for anybody in particular. It is what is best for you. For me, it was the best option. I'm not saying that it's going to be for you. It's wherever you are at in life. That's where I'm at. So, a lot of things that I would like to go over quickly before I end the show. Um, Having the bariatric surgery, if you guys have ever heard the commercial on the radio that talks about it, one of the big things on there is they say, I only wish I would have done it sooner. And honestly, I agree with that. Um, I cannot be more thankful. I am so happy at where I've come from since then, who I am now. And I am thankful that I decided to go and get the surgery because there's things that may seem small to you guys, but to me these are huge. So I can cross my legs now, which I couldn't do before. When I drive, I'm not stuck up to the steering wheel and have barely any room. That was so crazy. Um, Stuff that I'd like beat myself up about. I went on the plane. It was miserable. I had to call one of the stewardess to give me a seatbelt extender for the first time in my life, and I was just mortified. Mortified. Because, like I said before, in my mind, that's not who I was. I didn't believe that I was 350 pounds. No way. If I could still move and do this stuff, yeah, right. I look back at pictures now, which, guys, I will put up a slideshow onto Survivor Girl Facebook page so you guys can see the progress and where I've come. Another thing is I can wear my fiance's clothes. I went from a 5X down to a medium. I got rid of those clothes. I had people donate to me throughout this whole process. I've had clothes ever since the surgery. And I am so thankful that I had those people that did that. And I've gone and passed these clothes on to other people that could use them. I can tie my shoes. I can reach down and tie my shoes. For the first time, I could run. I haven't ran since I was 8 years old, and that was just so awesome. Playing and running and having a great time. And, you know, just those things alone. Adam picks me up, which is crazy because he's like a buck 35, and I've lost a whole him. Is that crazy or what? All of the weight less than him or more than him, but that's just crazy. The energy is it's just I'm so thankful for that. I've never experienced that in my life. Yes, I'm already crazy. I do 100 million things to begin with, but now with the energy, it's like, all right, I got more things I can do. And life is just 1,000 times better. I never really paid attention or made it about how I looked. But one of the things now that helps is I can wear different things. I have options for clothing. When I was that heavy, trying to find 5X cute clothing was very, very hard to do. Now I'm able to find different things. I explore different styles. I'm comfortable in what I'm in. I don't care. I go out. I'm just like, this is what it is. This is me. This is what I'm wearing now. And it's incredible. It's just a whole new life. And I thank God every day. I thank my surgeon. I thank my friend who gave me the money to start it. And I just thank everybody that stood beside me throughout that whole process. Instead of people being negative and saying that it was a bad idea, people came and linked arm in arm with me. And I thank you guys. So, with that being said, before I end, I have one more thing. Candy said, "Thank you for the Serenity House plug. Great first show of the new year in new SGP." And Dawn said, "Thank you for sharing, sister. Love you." I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for uplifting me so I can help uplift others. So thank you guys for tuning in. We will be back next Sunday for Survivor Girl Sunday. I love you guys. I hope that you guys go ahead and reach out to others and help uplift others as well. And remember, life is best lived.